Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Another amazing episode this week. And, you know, I just love the opportunity to continue to learn with everybody. And today I have brought on a special guest, a friend of mine, Brian Sallee. And, him and I have chatted offline. We're friends. And we're always talking about what does the business owner want to know today. And so today's episode, we are going to have Brian share with us some updates in the market about digital transformation, what that means for your business, and really what's in store for everybody if they're looking to grow and scale in 2025. So with that said, Brian, thank you so much for joining. Educate me, because
My pleasure.
know technology is, I'll talk all day, but technology is not my thing. So educate me a little bit.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Rhonda. This is fun. Yeah, we've known each other for a while, but we've not had the chance to really unpack
Yeah.
digital transformation. And like I was mentioning earlier, it's kind of a trending word for 2025. Obviously, it's been around for a couple of years, but I'm having a lot of conversations with CEOs. 2 years ago, in my opinion, was Web3 world, right? I think we probably saw everybody pack the rooms, the webinars, the masterminds with everything crypto, blockchain. You remember that? Remember that? That was what,
I avoided
2023?
it, but that's okay.
You avoided it? I did to an extent. Last year, we could probably agree with AI, right? Is there anything you can think of that occurred last year that didn't have the word AI in it? Webinars, books, live streams. I felt like I saw AI everywhere. This year, I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and CEOs are realizing that those trends are trends. And sure, they're here to stay, but if they don't impact the business, what's the point? And so digital transformation has been a really common topic recently, which is really how do you actually move the needle with your business and transform it using digital products and software so that you make more money, you get in front of more customers, you can operate more efficiently, make fewer mistakes. And it doesn't matter whether you have a professional services company, online education, you can be cutting edge, bleeding edge, have no edge. It doesn't matter. How do you do it, right? How do you make more money and do it better quality with less work, right?
So, I love the concept of AI, but when you take somebody like myself who I'm so, uh, what's the word? I like to be more intimate with my clients. And a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody, they have the same experience. They want to be intimate and they feel like the use of AI is important, but it draws away the intimacy. So, what is your opinion about that? And how do they navigate? So, somebody like myself could be more involved with AI and less fearful that I am no longer relevant.
Yeah, great question. Well, I think where we all should start as entrepreneurs when it comes to technology, and I'm going to say something really controversial here. Is that okay?
Go for it.
Put the computers down. And I love seeing the look on people's faces in person when I'm with other entrepreneurs. They're like, "We're in here, talk about technology." I'm like, just put the computer down for a minute, because without understanding your business as an executive, the technology is just a distraction. To be candid, right? And what I think you and I and most successful people do is put the computer down for a second and get an old school whiteboard, get a piece of paper, get a napkin, whatever it is, and think through what's the bottleneck in your business. And I did hear this example, give credit where credit's due. I don't remember where it was, it's in a book. But the example that really stuck in my mind is that if you have a factory, right? This is like college level stuff here, but it makes sense. And you can produce one steering wheel per day, and you can produce five tires per day and three engines. If you spend most of your time figuring out how to ramp up your engine capacity or make more tires, your constraint is still your steering wheels, and you'll never produce more than one car per day. And as simple as that is, which we all know that, we forget that
Yeah.
with technology. And the reality is we need to look at what is the constraint in our business and then how do we fix that constraint. And very often that is a short conversation. A lot of entrepreneurs and CEOs of all size businesses can figure that out in an hour or less. It may be more or less complicated. Then I think that's when you turn to AI. And you say, well, wait a second. In my business, what if my constraint is people? My constraint is processes. My constraint is onboarding. My constraint is training. My constraint is, I don't know what other examples in front of them, right? Then what can AI do to fix that? Oh, can we automate all of our AI, all of our training with AI? Now we've got a really interesting conversation. Can we get a backfill in our sales funnel using AI? That's an interesting conversation. Could we use AI to answer our phones? Could we use AI to triage our customer prospects? Could we use AI to upsell prior customers that haven't bought from us in a year? Now it gets really fun. And then that's really where we start talking about AI and unpacking it.
We hear so many great ideas come out of your mouth right now. And what I'm thinking about as the small business owner is, how do I find the right person that's the right fit, that has the right product for me at that time? So you just mentioned so many amazing concepts in the AI world. But if I'm a small business growing, how do I know where to start?
That's the question, right? Because if you have a hammer, all your problems are nails, right? So I talk to people and they're like, I love ChatGPT. I know ChatGPT can revolutionize your business. You should be using ChatGPT,
No, part of AI,
And
by the way, that's why I'm laughing. It
right.
took me a while. And actually, I was at mine, and one of the gentlemen at the mastermind who was teaching that slot said, everybody now take out your phones or your laptops. I'm teaching everybody how to use ChatGPT. And there's me. I'm like, no technology. He's like, I promise you, I will show you. I will show you the way. So that's the only
Well,
AI I use.
well, there you go. Well, case in point, I mean, now people opinion are saying, well, Grok runs circles around ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Oh, Claude is better for this. Have you heard of LaChat? Have you tried Manus? MANUS is waitlisted now. What about Perplexity? People sort by Perplexity. Well, you don't know anything, or you haven't tried anything until you've run it through DeepSeek, right? And so, like, the reality is, if you can't learn everything, so DeepSeek, Gemini, that's another one that's out there right now. I mean, there's so many, and honestly, Rhonda, there'll be like 10 more by next month, right? So I think it really does come down to what does your business need to grow and scale. What's fun for me is really seeing entrepreneurs and business owners move the needle in revenue. So, for example, last week I helped a customer and we ingested 1.4 million phone calls that they had made over the past X number of years. So, without disclosing their confidential data or the product promotion, this is something anybody listening can do this on their own, right? But essentially, the short version is we just exported all their phone calls from their phone system, ran it through one of the models that are out there. I forget which one they actually did originally, but you can use ChatGPT, whatever you want to do. Transcribed all of those, ran those into AI, and we're able to identify 100 top prospects that they could call today to generate sales that they had missed or that were missed opportunities out of those 1.4 million phone calls. And then hearing the stories of, okay, now we fed those 100 calls, those 100 leads to our sales team yesterday on Monday or Tuesday. And then now we've got opportunity on the board. Now we've got a sales proposal out there. Now we're actually delivering value. Now we're helping our business. That's a really fun conversation about digital transformation in a way that somebody was really able to make money by transforming your business digitally.
I love it. And once again, this is why we have Brian Sallee on as one of our guests today. let's jump into something else. You and I jumped right into digital transformation. And what I failed to do is highlight how awesome you are in the space that you work in. So why don't you take a few minutes to kind of really tell everybody your back, because you have a cool backstory, your backstory, what you do. And then obviously we want to make sure people who want to connect, who's your avatar?
Sure. Well, you know me a little bit better, so I could probably talk for an hour. But part of the reason and the way that I am who I am is because I was born in Haiti and grew up without electricity. Grew up on a tropical island is a positive way to say it, or I could say I was born in a third world country. Both are true. But it definitely shaped the way that I appreciate technology, to be candid, because I had nothing. I had nothing, and I grew around people that had less than me. And technology barely existed back then. I mean, technology, but certainly not anything that you or I work with today, right? And I got to see that firsthand. And I've been to over 30 countries and studied 5 languages by the time I got out of college. And I think I've got kind of a unique perspective on what I do today by having that kind of upside down and backwards growing up years. And I was very fortunate to get into the tech space really from being a technology doer until there really was a point in time where my dad, who was not a business person, but a brilliant individual, took me out to dinner one time and was like, "Hey, Brian, why don't you focus a little more on what actually is moving the needle in your business instead of chasing not only the small profit margins in the most trending things? Why not work with your biggest customers that have the most revenue, quite frankly?" Which sounds really dumb as I say that out loud, right? But I was an entrepreneur and I was a CEO and I was growing my 6, 7 figure business, and I was busy and I was heads down and I was doing what I thought was best. And I kind of missed that perspective. So I was very fortunate to get caught in the cloud computing tide and was able to grow from 6 to 7 to 8 figures through acquisition, had multiple data centers, got into the cloud computing world, and ultimately we got acquired by a rebranded version of HP, Hewlett Packard, a couple of years ago, quite a few years ago now. And really, since then, Rhonda, the main thing that I do is I help other business owners add a zero to their revenue. And it's really that simple. It's like, how do you add a zero per month or per year to your business? It's not about minor improvements, it's about exponential, changing your mindset, your thinking, but also getting really tactical. And that's why we kind of quickly got into digital transformation, because that is one of the ways that you could do that. But obviously, there's other ways to do that, from your board to capital to your strategy. But that's really the main thing that I love the best doing today as an executive coach.
Now, obviously, that sounds so sexy to so many of the people that are listening right now. Walk me through how you identify who a client would be. And then what does that meeting look like? And what does that timeline look like? Right. So I think a lot of it is about setting the appropriate expectation for what it will cost, not for you, but what it will cost for them. And what does that timeline look like?
Sure, that's a really, really good question. I don't know if I how fast I can unpack that one. I I would say it starts really with the known, which is usually that person's vision and mission. So we don't usually recreate that. That is the known thing. What are you trying to solve? Why do you exist? Why why do you do what you do? And there really isn't a wrong answer. And that's kind of where you're going. Are you making a business that you can sell, that you can buy? Do you want to IPO? Do you want to go public? Do you want to leave it to your family? Do you want to incorporate to your kids? And that can be different for everybody. And once we kind of set that as the starting point, then we work backwards to think about, are you ready to get to where you need to be? What needs to happen to get to that level? And then we start zeroing in on the marketing, the sales, the operations, and the finance. So, for example, a lot of my conversations are really with a CEO who has the mindset. So maybe they're doing 5, 10, or $50 million in revenue, and they're thinking, this is great, or maybe it's not great, but I think I can get 5 or 10 or 20 times farther. And I'm not sure how to make that leap. So I'm doing 5 million in order for this to be an IPO, in order for this to be a family legacy business. I'm going to get from 5 to 50. And it's not just about hiring 3 more people next month or buying another truck or buying an AI. I really need to think differently. And that's kind of the persona and the mindset of people that I typically am working with and the approach that I would take on it.
Now, when somebody is interested in working with you, do they get Brian? I only, and I say that because when people want to work with my company, they get on board and they go, do I work with you or do you have a team? Again, it goes back to the expectation. So if somebody's listening and they're like, this guy really knows, I want to connect. Do they get to work with you or are they working with somebody else on your team?
They do, and we actually limit the number of companies we work with for that reason. And ironically, I'm not trying to build a massive business anymore in this space. I have other projects I'm working on, but or that I may work on in the future. But as far as this, I like the boutique approach, and we can only handle a certain number of customers per month or per quarter to do that. But yes, for what I do now, it is me directly involved, and then my team supports whatever we need to actually make that difference.
I love that. Now, we know that you're located in Florida, you're down in Tampa. Does that limit your ability to work with clients or do you work all over?
We work all over. We work all over the world, all over the globe. And in the past couple of years, you know, a lot of folks have really become a lot more acclimated to doing digital things like this, right? And so video and things like that are very, very common. So we have clients all across the US and internationally now.
I love it. So if there was one takeaway that you wanted to express to the audience today, what takeaway would that be?
If you want to grow faster, laser focus. It's actually not about adding more, it's about niching down. And I think we know that to be true in the gym, in financial investing, and whatever other areas of life or whatever. But I think a lot of times entrepreneurs we forget that. And if you really want to scale and grow, it's about laser focusing in on one product that you do a really great job with, one persona that really resonates with your business, and set up one model that could really scale and you can dominate with. And I think it really is a scenario that less is more.
I love it. And then last question, just for the sake of time, obviously businesses like yours and mine grow through relationships. Who is a good connector for you in your business?
Really, anyone who is helping CEOs or entrepreneurs look for making that big jump, making the exponential type of approach. And the great thing is that it doesn't take 5 or 10 times the amount of money or time to grow your business 5 or 10 times. And if you're talking to somebody who has that vision and that dream, and if you don't, it's okay, by the way. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there I talk to that they're not there yet, and that is okay. But if that's you, then that is a particular mindset of an entrepreneur, and those are who I spend a lot of my time with.
Now, if somebody wanted to connect with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Sure. So the best way to connect with me online digitally is at my personal website, brians360.com. You can connect with all my social medias, all the projects I'm involved with right now today. Text, calendar, email me, Brian, BRIANS, starting my last name, and then 360.com.
I love it. So once again, we brought on Brian Sallee today. If anybody has any questions, they want to connect with Brian, or of course, you're looking to grow or scale your business, looking for business funding, really empowering businesses along the way, you could always contact me as well. Until next time, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to get ready to bring you another guest.